up, man? The best Warriors play back out right now. I mean, it's gonna take it's gonna take the world to take this over, man. This shit is too much at this point. Kuminga highlights. Happy Sunday, man. Bro, today was nuts, man. Like the shit that I was reading in my fucking mentions was crazy. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Yo, let's be honest. We got to be dead ass. This is by far like we can, discuss like all the Warriors and this and that, and there's a lot of big accounts and whatnot. I'm not taking away or disrespecting anyone, but this is by far the greatest collection of minds when it comes to the Warriors and even other stuff like that you'll ever find. Let's be honest here. You're not finding a better collection of minds than us. I don't care what anyone says, man. We cover everything, bro. The advanced stats, the baseline stats, the film, break it down to a T, play calls, sets, coaching, front office, personnel. Bro, it's like, fuck. You can't beat this shit, man. It's too fucking good. Um, Bro, my mentions were fucking. Yeah, I have it paused right now. My mentions were going crazy, bro. Because who's in my mentions? Do you want me to give you a noun or an adjective? uh, I mean, I don't know. The people, it's not even like Dre. Just tell me when. Uh, it's not even like anything bad. I'm just saying that it's just very simple logic, right? It's like really simple logic, and I wanted to take today because today was like a really good. Um, it was a good measuring stick to see like where the fan base, like what the pulse was, in terms of understanding who like. There's a side of the Warriors fan base that really wants to keep the kids, like Kuminga, Moody. We just traded Jordan. We traded Wiseman last year. We got rid of PBJ and Rollins in the deal with Jordan. Um, so that stuff happened. But like it doesn't change the fact that Steve like okay, we got rid of some kids, but if you're telling me that Steve isn't gonna play Kuminga and Moody regular minutes, then I guess like we can keep them kind of because we got less kids on the roster, but like if there's a vet out there, if you can find a championship piece that upgrades those spots, I don't see what the issue is. Like I'm not saying Kyle Anderson is the answer, but what I am saying is he's an option, possibly, if he is an option, like it's an option. I'm not saying that like it's the best trade in the world. I don't think it's the best trade in the world. I don't think it's great value, honestly. But like, are we trying to get value or are we trying to win championships? Because if we're trying to get value, we should have never traded James Wiseman. Trading Wiseman was a mistake if we're trying to get value. And trading Jordan Poole, for that matter, was a mistake too if we're trying to get value. So then what's the goal here? Like, right? Like, that's kind of how I see it. Unless Steve has like a comprehensive plan that he's going to stick to in order to develop Kuminga and Moody and those guys, then I'm not interested in having them on the roster. Or I'm not interested in Steve being the coach. Like one or the other, right? Like this idea, and then you have like some fans that are like, is it possible to trade Moody for Slow-Mo? I don't think so. Here's what I would do. I would say Moody, Kuminga for Slow-Mo. The only reason is because you have to make the money work, and it is bad value. Do not get me wrong. It's bad value. But if the Timberwolves can give us a first and maybe a couple seconds, I think it helps mitigate some of that lost value. Because, look, man, like I said, if Moody and Kuminga are going to be parked on the bench. Let me tell you this as well. If we sign Torrey Craig, or if we sign Yuta Watanabe, or if we sign, whoever, a veteran wing, if you think Steve is going to even play, the fact that he played Anthony Lamb over Kuminga should tell you that if we sign any competent vet on this roster that's a championship level piece, the last thing Steve is going to do is play Jonathan Kuminga more minutes than them. It's just not going to happen. And I'm not even talking about Kuminga. I'm talking about Kerr right now. Because most of this is on Kerr, right? I mean, I'm not saying Kuminga's perfect, right? We know Kuminga has missed practices. We know that he's, he wants playing time and opportunity. I'm not saying Kuminga is, bought in necessarily. But what I am saying is this. We have to be able, I paused the video. We have to be able to, put everything into context, right? So, and ultimately it's on the coach. Kuminga can be happy or sad or angry or whatever emotions go through his body. He can be upset about things. It doesn't change the fact that Kuminga failed this year because of Steve Kerr. That's how I see it. I don't see this as a Kuminga thing. But my point is that Kuminga can do everything right. He can do everything right. He can show up on time. He can be the first one in, last one out. He can be, super productive and involved and engaged and all that stuff. And he can even do some of, the connector stuff that he didn't do last year. Even though he was a really good defender, good play finisher, he did some positive stuff. He can fix those things. I don't think, this is where my optimism lies, I'll be honest. Because here's the thing. Draymond said this 2 years ago, by the way. I'm not making this up. Draymond literally said in a press conference that he came late and that they had to talk to him, which is fine. Shit happens. I'm not saying he's a bad guy because of it. It just happens. My point is this. I don't even care if my belief is Kuminga could show up to practice, be the first one there, the last one out. It wouldn't change Steve's coaching practices. I just don't think Steve would change his mentality and approach. I think Steve is hell-bent on playing vets. I don't think he's interested in developing the youth. And if we do sign vets, do we really expect Steve? I'm going to play the video now. Do we expect Steve to play and develop Kuminga over Torrey Craig? I don't see that. If we sign Torrey Craig in free agency, is he going to play Kuminga over Torrey Craig ever? No. I just don't see that, right? But here's what I will say. If you tell me this, if you tell me Steve is a changed man next year, he changes his ways, he changes his practices, his approach, mentality, all of those things that make you a coach, right? If he changes his entire being of how he coaches a team and certain players, and next season he's a changed man, and you tell me he's fully committed to developing Kuminga and coaching him to a T, and Moses Moody for that matter, this isn't even just Kuminga. If you tell me Steve Kerr is fully invested in their success to integrate them in a team concept, then by all means, keep Jonathan Kuminga and keep Moses Moody. I just don't think Steve Kerr is malleable. I don't think he's adaptable. I think he's rigid, and I don't see him changing his ways. But if he does, then keep him, because I do think Kuminga can be a great player. I mean, look at him. Play finisher, man. And he's developing his game. He's working on some skill stuff. Pull up three, off the bounce, attacking closeouts. Look at that. I mean, it's no doubt in my mind Kuminga's going to be a great player. The question is Steve Kerr going to allow it? And the other thing is, right, again, if we sign vets, this is what I don't want to happen, right? We sign two vets who are so key to our title chances. And then Steve doesn't play Kuminga, because you have to get these vets up to speed, right? You have to develop the vets in a way, because the vets are not playing pick and roll every possession. They're going to have to get used to the motion offense. They're going to have to get used to the sets and the plays and the play calls, right? So these vets are going to have to get ready. Is Steve going to even think for a second to play Kuminga and Moody at all in place of these vets that are going to have to get up to speed for the playoffs? I don't see it. So whether we sign, here's the thing. Either our team has to be so bad that Steve has no choice but to play them, or something has to happen that's so drastic, like Andrew Wiggins gets injured, which happened, that these guys have to play. Because, let's be honest, Kuminga was out of the rotation until Wiggins, what was it, a hamstring or something? He, pulled his hamstring or whatever?
Abductor.
What's up, Shadow?
Yeah, it was an abductor.
Oh, it was an adductor. It was a adductor. Yeah. Yeah, Wiggs pulled his adductor. He's out for, a few weeks, 3 weeks. And Kuminga just destroys. He's just point of attack, monster, just making huge plays on the defensive end, rebounding pretty well. I mean, he was incredible. But
the long of the story is Dre. Steve Kerr just doesn't play young guys. If Klay Thompson doesn't get hurt and misses 2.5 years, we never see this version of Jordan Poole.
I agree.
That's it. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's all it is.
I 100% agree.
The man just doesn't play young guys. So better, rather than losing Moody and Kuminga, that's $10 million in salary.
I agree, Shadow.
You see what Nas just signed for today? We could have got Nas for those.
Yeah, you're right. Think about it, guys. If we sign vets next year, championship pieces, championship vets that can contribute to a championship, do you really think Steve is going to play Kuminga and Moody over them? I don't see it. He didn't even play them over Anthony Lamb and Ty Jerome.
If there are competent veteran role players that we sign for do that, which we will, I don't see...
Dre, don't you think with Chris Paul coming, JK is going to get playing time? I think it's possible. That it would require Steve Kerr to change his ways still, though. He would have to... So we can't run motion, right? If we have Chris Paul and Kuminga coming off the bench, then Steve can't. He's got to run straight pick and roll every possession.
And also, guys, you guys realize that Jordan Poole didn't leave because of Draymond. He left because of Steve Kerr.
Yeah, you're right. Shadow's right.
Let's not.
Anthony Slater wrote
he
that
left because of Steve Kerr, man.
Slater wrote that in his article that Kuminga and Steve had some friction. They had a fractured relationship. It's true.
Do you think that's so? Who's to blame in that scenario? Is it Steve Kerr or is it?
Honestly.
Hey, what's good?
I'm not gonna lie. I know I give Jordan a lot of shit, but he probably handled it better than I would. He played bad. Don't get
Everyone
me wrong.
hear me?
He deserved to be
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up?
Much.
I was just saying,
Jordan handled it like a champ.
A lot of shit, right?
He was mature.
Oh, what's up, Shadow?
Jordan handled it like a champ. He was mature.
Yeah, no, exactly. He was very mature.
And do you think Jordan Poole can, as he goes to the Wizards aren't going to be who knows? They could be a really good team, but can he play?
You guys think players care about that shit, bro? There's 20 players in the NBA that care about that shit, bro. They want the money over the wins, bro. You want the money over the wins, bro. Maybe a guy like Steph, or maybe a guy like Draymond, because they built that culture, but guys don't give a shit. Do you think Jordan Poole cares if he doesn't ever see a 30-win season, but makes $450 million in the league?
Not at all. Before the ring, definitely. Now,
Yeah,
no way.
man. All this stuff, like everybody puts this emphasis. Oh, I need a ring. I need a ring. There, I know plenty of NBA players who never saw the NBA Finals and are happy as fucking shit.
Dre, I'm starting reading comprehension classes on Twitter starting tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's a great investment idea. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
people just don't. I just realized. I honestly thought we were the smartest fan base, but man, we're slow when we're ready, man. We're slow. I don't know. I don't understand what people don't understand what vet minimum means. And can we do this? Can we do this? Everybody wants all these astronomical trades, but refuse. Do you know the Warriors have the biggest asset in the entire NBA? 43 million.
yeah.
That they could give away and it literally would not affect their team.
And I saw Laker fans talking about Draymond's contract or something like that.
Shadow, I put up a list today of just some of the contracts at or around 43 million. Just for kicks, by the way.
Yeah, there's not a lot, and the ones that are damn near like above star level, underneath borderline superstar or franchise player.
Pounds?
And I, guys, you think we're just gonna watch film? Like, I have numbers prepared. Like, I have deep analytics numbers. Like, we're gonna dive into this shit. You think this is a joke? Yesterday we spent damn near 3.5 hours going through Game 4 of the semis last year. I mean, of this year. Remember that? I mean, we went play by 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 play, and we broke it down to a T exactly what went wrong, what we have to fix and correct for next year. So I'm gonna go through some numbers as well. This isn't just film. It's gonna be some numbers. You see Kuminga here, and you see a lot of these clips. He's attacking mismatches, right? That's something that we should exploit. But again, does Steve necessarily empower him to grow his game and to develop in the way he needs to so he can be ready for the playoffs? I don't know. Look at that. That's gravity.
The man barely empowers Steph. Doc, how you expect to get him?
Oh, here we go, Shadow getting into it, bro.
He handcuffs Steph. But Steph likes that because he hates pick and roll.
Wiggins, everyone's over there talking about Wiggins. Wiggins is this, and he's so great. Do you realize how good Wiggins is for him not to get zero offense ran for him?
Yeah. Talk about how
by the way, this
undersized for offense, but the first time he was let loose, he came out and had 15 and a half.
Bro, by the way, this has been my end game for 2 years, and this is where Jim and I align fully, and why a lot of times I will butt heads with Jim because he only does this for Steph. And I'm like, if you watch the game, and Kuminga and Moody are easy targets because they're young. We can say, oh, they're not on the floor because they're young. Bro, look at Wiggins is a perfect example of this. Wiggins just overcomes limitations that are put on him within the offense. That's why we love Wiggins so much, because he's low maintenance, gives you elite scoring capability while also guarding the other team's best player. But let's be honest, this dude's he's capable of 27 a game, like in his sleep. I know Shadow will tell you. But I will tell you straight up, Wiggins is capable of 27 a game in his sleep while also defending the other team's elite player. Why do you think he doesn't do that? They're not running plays for him, bro. They barely do it for Steph.
Look at that. That's just like, we can work with that.
We're watching Moody and JK highlights. And we're probably going to get into some of the weaknesses too, but let's be real. There's no reason why these dudes shouldn't have been on the floor.
Yo, Andre.
Yo.
Do you see what I'm saying about Kuminga, bro? This is what I mean about Kuminga. This is why I'm like, this is why I lost respect for Steve Kerr. Look at that play.
Right.
Look at
and you know what?
play.
I'm not, again, you know where I stand on this. This isn't a Kuminga thing for me. For me, I already know how good this dude is, and how good he can be.
I 100% understand you. I 100%. Our coach, don't get me wrong, our coach. Look at that. Who on the team could do
Yeah, who can that block against Edwards? Who on the team can make that block outside of
Look at that.
Look at where he left from, fam. You just make business decisions
Outside
at
of
that
Andrew
point.
Wiggins, nobody on the team can make that block against Anthony Edwards at the rim.
If
Seriously.
this man puts both hands on the ball, just get out the way, bro.
He's the same type of freight train as LeBron James.
But what I hope, because I don't want to get into like a
Look at that.
a Kerr shit fest either, because we don't really have an option right now.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
hope
So
people
that's what I'm
understand
saying.
Dre when he says, "Well, then
Right.
let's just trade him for
Yeah,
somebody
trade him.
for who's going to play." This is not I want Kuminga gone in a vacuum type thing. We want the team to improve.
That's the same reason why I wanted Jordan traded, because at the end of the day, he's not going to blossom under this system and with Steph.
Same thing with
Clay
Wiseman. Yeah.
Like
The people that want to keep Kuminga and Moody
Now,
to me
it's different, right? Because I put
are
up a
the
tweet
ones
today
that are
that's doing
operating-
numbers, and it's doing numbers in a way that I didn't really expect. People were just in there arguing about whose fault it is. But what Dre is talking about is he's talking about if Kuminga's not going to be utilized the way that we know he should, then just go get somebody who will.
I honestly think the Raptors would utilize him better than.
It's why they wanted him.
But listen, I don't want to operate under the assumption that like I know they can be good with us. Actually,
Yeah.
The question is first of all, let me say this, and I'm gonna get into the numbers, but like they should not be as bad as they are, even as many flashes as they've shown. They should not even be as bad as they've looked. Like it's on top of the fact that when they're on the court, they don't even look as good as they should. And part of that is because we don't run pick and roll and simpler offense. I do think that is a huge stain on Steve, which is you need to adjust. Look at that. You need to adjust to your personnel, man, in the half court. Because what Kuminga can do in transition is worth having him on the floor by itself.
Yeah.
Hey, Dre.
Nobody said it in a
How many times y'all put it in the chat? I want to know, and Dre can answer this question. How many times did you visually see a Poole Kuminga pick and roll?
Honestly, maybe a handful of times all year. I can't really remember. Maybe like a few times. A couple times I remember, and they were buckets every time.
And I'll say this too, like,
and these are the things where plays don't get ran for him. He's just picking up something in the offense.
And he's attacking space, right?
This should be every fucking possession, bro. Pick and roll to death, bro. To fucking death. Now, I will say this. If you tell me Steve Kerr adjusts and he changes his offensive approach and he's able to, embrace Kuminga's skill set, embrace Moses Moody's skill set. Let me tell you this, guys. I've said this on the record. I view Kuminga and Moody in the Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges mold.
Yeah.
I
They
said
can
that.
be that.
I think Moody can be Cam Johnson light. I really do.
I think Kuminga has, in terms of raw talent,
that shit, bro. And I'm throwing it
raw
through,
talent than Mikal Bridges.
I agree. Kuminga's ceilings might be higher than Mikal Bridges. I actually agree with that.
Talent-wise. Now, Mikal Bridges is more skilled because he's been in a system where
You're saying talent because I know why you're saying that. Because, well, look at this. He pops. Look at this.
Yeah.
Bridges can't do that.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Raw, pure. If I'm taking those players, if Mikal Bridges and Kuminga were in the same draft class, because didn't Mikal go a year earlier, right, or two?
Yeah, like a year or two. Yeah.
I'm taking Kuminga because he's more athletic. I think,
physical tools.
Yeah, and I think given the tools that he can bring,
look at that. Steph
he can be
pick and roll.
He could be at the level of Mikal Bridges defensively. Like he can guard. He can guard 1 through 4.
Man,
you've seen that.
Do it. He can do it.
So this is what I think, guys. My hope is we sign a few really good vets, right? But if we do keep Kuminga and Moody, Steve needs to be committed to playing them consistently and coaching them up so that even when they make mistakes, we don't abandon their development.
Yeah.
But Andre, the problem is not the problem. What I noticed is Dunleavy specifically drafted those two things with that assumption. Mm-hmm. And even Steve said in a thing we should have been doing the pick and roll, the high pick and roll because it was our best offense. It took you now How many years you been with Steph? It took you now to realize that's your best offense.
I know. Yeah, it's a shame.
Hey man, like I said, I think this can easily become a like.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we shouldn't do motion, but
Yeah.
styles make fights. Different teams need different coverages.
This guy's Cam Johnson, man. You cannot tell me Moody is better than bro. Moody can be better than Cam Johnson, bro.
Yeah. Even like I want y'all to watch these. Like watch Moody. Because Moody just recently turned 21, or is he not turned 21 yet?
I think he's. Let me check just to be sure.
Moody's 21.
Yeah. I think he's 21. Yep, 21.
Because people have been going.
He
back
just turned 21. He just turned. 21.
Yeah. Okay, I think it was in like May. I think April.
Yeah, it was May 31st. Yeah, May
His
31st.
hand was in his face and he made that shot, man.
So, and I understand what people are trying to say, but I've had some people in my mentions, and they talk about how is it Podzinski?
Yeah,
I gotta learn how to say his name.
Podziemski.
And Trace Jackson Davis are different because of their age. Now we do know, and I think there's nuance here that people are missing. We do know that Kerr values college experience. We do know that.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless of what Kerr's preferences are, I want people to watch these highlights of Moody and process those Kuminga highlights we just watched as if they're about to be drafted, and you tell me where that guy goes. You tell me where this guy goes. I don't care if he's 21 or 23, because Trace is 23, and you all know I've been a massive advocate for Trace all year, basically since January. You tell me
fucked up, man. You're right.
You tell me where Kuminga and Moody go, bro.
We drafted too young. We should have really drafted older prospects, because you are right. They're 20. Yo, Trace Jackson Davis is 23, bro. Moses Moody's 2 years younger than him, man.
Yeah.
Like, people don't realize how young the core really was. Like Wiseman, he didn't even play a single game. Like he only played like one game in college, right?
Never had a
game.
And then you literally go into a team, and then you go into a messed up situation where the team is supposed to contend, and you gotta like figure out what your role is, and then everything gets hurt, and then like we had weird lineups 2-3 years ago.
Bro, Poole sucks. Look at that. Moody was saving Poole the entire playoffs, by the way.
Yeah, that's facts.
I want to say that, by the way.
On hustle alone, man.
Holy shit. I mean, you saw that three he just bricked? I mean, that's embarrassing. Look at this. These are the playoffs, bro.
Oh, no, Moody is the most ready guy in terms of postseason. Like, he understood exactly what he was just a hustle guy.
And let me piggyback off of that. And that's the experience you can't teach. Like, do you realize this season, even if we do trade him or not, this season they're gonna break out. They've got these coverages. They've got all of this. It'll be at this point, you didn't put 2 years within them in your system. At this point, it's a mistake trading them. At this point, it's a mistake.
You kind of wasted basically 2 seasons of development.
That might be. Let me tell you this right now. That might be one of the better arguments.
Get it? That's fine, but
that might be one of the better arguments that I've heard to keep them. Because nobody, out of everybody that's made an argument, and we have a lot of remedial people on Twitter, that was probably the best argument that I've heard. Where it's like, look, these guys have been involved and they're aware and they've been integrated into the system for 2 full seasons, and we won a championship. And you know what? I actually don't even disagree. I actually think if we can make it work, we should keep them. The question is, can we make it work? And it starts with the coach, really.
Let me tell you what.
To understand, like, young guys are gonna make mistakes. Like
one thing was said without being said, right? I think like Dunleavy is really onto Kerr. Like if Kerr don't, if Kerr don't, like he could be out. Bob was a little bit too close to Kerr for my liking, but Dunleavy looks like you better do this because.
So Did you notice that in the press conference, which I think you might we're about to reference, where he was like, we felt like we need to find minutes for these guys, Kuminga and these younger guys. Like Steve needs to find minutes for them, and we're gonna work on ways to get them there. Like he said that, bro. Like that. I mean, that was a big statement. I thought to say like we got to find minutes for these young dudes.
Yeah.
I do think like there is potential that we can work together.
Yeah.
When I say we, I'm talking about like Steve and the kids, and I'm saying just the team overall. Find a way to make an effective game plan. Now the question is, you gotta really just switch up the offense. Like Chris Paul next to these dudes, it would be a
Godsend.
crime if you ran motion, bro. I'm telling
Yeah.
you right now. Imagine Moody and Kuminga. So think of this: Cam Johnson. I think Cam Johnson came off the bench, right? But Mikal Bridges started, and Cam Johnson was basically a sixth man.
And
So like,
And look
think
at that
about it.
offense. And look at that offense when it was ran.
But think about it. You're gonna have Chris Paul off the bench, Moody off the bench, Kuminga off the bench. Like this is gonna be this could be like a Suns starting unit light,
hey Doc, hey
off the
Andre,
bench
Yeah.
type of offense.
hey
If we run
Andre,
it properly, though, we
you
gotta
you
do it
said you
properly.
said it perfectly, and this is why I think they ultimately pulled the trigger on Chris Paul, because they reestablished the young guys, reestablished the culture. I'm not saying Jordan was anything bad. Don't get me wrong, he's not. But the relationship was irreversible at that point.
Yeah.
So you start over with a all-star point vet, which is just going to nurture them. This is why Chris Paul was bought on.
Right.
This is what I think. And they
Yeah.
got rid of PBJ and Ryan Ronald because it's too much young guys.
Right. And
You
you
know what?
still need that front
I'm not
court
opposed to.
of vets, right?
I'm not opposed to CP3 at the one. See, this is where it gets tricky though. Where does GP2 fit in? So, if
Right.
it's CP3 at the one, who's point of attack? I like GP2 off the bench POA. And then you want Kuminga and Moody. I think one of them can slot in, maybe Kuminga. If you get Torrey Craig, that's 4, and then you need a backup 5.
Yeah.
I think we need at least one or two vets that off the bench, like an Otto. Like an Otto, if we can get like an Otto type, like a Torrey Craig, I think that would be such
Yeah.
a huge acquisition.
If
Now the
we get
question is, can we what do we do with the other kid though? Because maybe you split up their minutes. Maybe Moody plays 15 minutes at the backup 3, and Kuminga plays another 15, or you can do something like that. Or maybe you trade one of them, and then the other one you go all in for development, and you just try to get them ready for the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works because the GP
I
two
agree.
factor, the GP2 factor is a tough one.
Just a second. I think one thing that can be dealt with really easily with the minutes is you can swap GP2 out, not because he's not the greatest secondary defender we have, but because there's a durability issue there where he can't play all those minutes. So I think
Yeah, you're right.
that
That is true too. Actually, you can probably, depending on the matchup, of course, flirt with GP2's minutes a bit. In the playoffs, I do think it'll be more matchup dependent, but I do think I think there is a path here. It just comes down to my confidence in Steve Kerr being very low.
Yeah.
Like
My
like it comes down to, is he willing to play them, and then it also comes down to, is he willing to play them in a system that optimizes their skill set. Those
if
are two big questions.
if we keep them like to say go on the point, if we keep them, Dunleavy is gonna make sure they play them. This is not happening again. He already warned him in the presser. He
I knew
already
Moody
warned.
was getting
Yeah.
run in a freaking game 7 scenario on the road, dude. That's if that's not like an
And I'm
example of
sorry.
keeping a
And
guy.
I'm sorry. You just cannot pay me to believe there's so many guys in the NBA this much better than these guys.
Yeah.
What I'm watching is like, you can't pay me to believe that.
See, again, I think if they were in, like, let's say, like, how the Spurs are in their rebuilding phase, right? It would be much better for them to develop. Like, you seeing how they're doing the slow build and slow grind with Keldon Johnson, and all those guys. Like, they and I think those guys have been developing for like 4 seasons now, and they're still like, taking the time, the little by little pieces by pieces, and I don't know. It's gonna be difficult because there will have to be a decision made in like I think Mike is gonna be like from day one in free agency. He's gonna be like aggressive, like he's already been aggressive, and I just think
If they stay around, Steve has to play them. They're gonna. It's
I agree. Yeah, that's
if
what I'm
they
saying. You're just
stay, but if they go, you know that Mike and Steve agreed that they can't work them into the system. But
then
if they
you put them
stay,
in a trade package. It's that simple.
I remember when Moody hit the shot, bro. I was so hyped. Bro, we should have won, bro. We fucking fumbled this shit, bro.
Yeah.
it was too much infighting for us to win, man. It would have been.
Yeah.
It would have just disrespected basketball in a sense.
Yeah, you literally had Nick Wright talking about if the Warriors freaking win a championship, then the regular season will never matter ever again. And not saying Nick Wright's opinion matters, but it kind of had some truth to that because we were if not the worst road team in the NBA. We had so many problems from before the season. We had problems postseason. And we had problems the postseason. Like we're having problems right now. So I think, it was destined. But man, we really defied all odds. Like the people talk about how the Lakers shouldn't have got there. I'm like, dude, we shouldn't have got that far.
We had maybe 2 games the whole season where we were firing on all cylinders.
Like every game, like even when we went on a run, let's say we went on like a 5-game streak. Oh no, we're going on a 6-game, 7-game losing streak. Like, or we're going like we'll win one game, lose that next game, then go on another 2-game slide or whatever. Like it was just like inconsistency all around. Like we were a bad good team. Like we were a bad good team. Like we had the right pieces around. We just couldn't figure out a way to build those pieces, and I think it's a good system, but it was just bad vibes, and that's how we really lost, in my opinion.
Horrible execution, yeah.
Yeah, and that too.
Yeah, I mean, even in the clutch, we were just horrible in the clutch. We were horrible on the road. And again, I don't think it's impossible to run it with these dudes, but like, there's a lot of questions that are gonna have to be answered if we do. Nothing.
And I agree with what Steve was saying on the podcast. Like, as much as he put a couple of players under the bus, like that was him and Draymond basically putting players under the bus. But it is true. Like, in order to win, everybody has to be bought in. There can't be any egos, and when the fact that our leader has to go into a game 7 on the road before, like on the bus, has to explain like, if you aren't bought in, then you shouldn't be playing, or you shouldn't be coming to the game. Just stay at home. That should have told us like, yo, like, yeah, it was the chemistry right now is at an all-time low, and experience was the only thing that really got us there. And it just sucks because like, it's not just one guy you blame. It's like the circumstances that were put were just like, yo, you can't really blame just one person in how everything.
Oh, of course not. Of course not. I always say most of these conversations are multivariate analyses. Like, multiple variables are at play here, multiple people and personalities and
Hey, look at Lamb
thoughts.
right there. Lamb had literally had no lifts, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
It was a crying shame.
look at this, bro. I remember this shot, bro. I was going crazy when we hit this. Come on, bro. Look at that. Fuck. Should have won that game.
Moody has great form.
I think it could work, actually. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, and kind of most people that have been following my thought patterns understand that it's not skepticism in terms of ability. It's skepticism in terms of probability. Like, the probability of it working is low if Steve doesn't adjust. Steve has to adjust, and mind you, adjust in 2 ways: adjust in playing the kids, and then also adjust the system in which the kids play under. It's twofold. It's actually playing them, and then it's playing them under the right play calls and sets and all those things, because that matters too. Like, you can't place it Chris Paul and fucking Kuminga in motion, bro. That's gonna be another
You really think you're gonna
negative
be able
around
to
the
get
NBA, bro.
Chris Paul in motion?
You can't do that. Yeah,
This
it would
man
be
gonna summon State Farm for Steve Kerr.
yeah.
Black Trex will pull up.
Yeah, we
Cliff
can't do
Paul
it.
gonna come out.
Yeah,
Flynn might
we
need to
really
take
can't
him
do
out on
that.
a boat trip.
So you're telling me we can keep JK? Yeah, we can definitely keep him. I don't think we have to trade him. I just think we really should trade him if Steve isn't going to adjust.
That's
Like,
true. That's
should.
true. Even though it pains me to say that's true, because you're gonna waste another year of him developing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And look, and you know what? I gotta commend the
Yeah. You cut out there for a little bit. Let me get Steph MVP up here.
But yeah, a lot of casual fans don't understand. Like, this is why young players, like high lottery picks, go to bad teams. Like, there is no lottery pick that's going to a championship team that contends. It's not how the system works. It's literally pointless. It's dumb. So
we had one shot. Well, we had two shots, and we fucked the one up.
yeah.
So,
And we tried the two timelines thing. You know, it could have worked, but it didn't, and you failed. Now you have to quickly readjust that, failure. And yeah, and I just think, like, if they're gonna develop,
bro, if
you're gonna have
you
to buy in.
now, I do want to be honest, right? We should look at everything. So at some point I'm gonna show the numbers, and the numbers aren't that favorable. So that's okay though, because there's context behind those numbers. And so I just want people to get the full scope of what we have here, like in terms of adjustments and in terms of look at how they're fucking playing Draymond. Okay, hold on. Let me pause this clip. Holy shit. Bro, we went through the entire game 4 last night of Warriors-Lakers.
That was pain right there, man.
And anybody that was in that rewatch yesterday understands, like, we broke that shit down better than most people broke anything down. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
They don't care about him at all.
Yeah. Another play, dude.
But and we got to be honest here too. Part of why Kuminga struggles is because of this shit. Look at this. Look at this.
I didn't know, dude. Why are they? The fact
Bro.
that, and I know Draymond Green's not a good shooter by any means. He kind of used to be, but the fact that he's literally like the equivalent of Ben Simmons.
Holy shit! Look at that.
In coverages is insane, bro.
Bro, this is so easy for them to defend, bro. Look at Anthony
Steph
Davis.
Curry
right
is playing with Ben Simmons in the front court
on
his team, basically.
Yeah, someone screenshot this. Here, I'll go back.
It's really insane, man. Like, we're playing 4 on 5. And when people are saying that, I wasn't even looking at it for real, but now looking at him, like, dude, he's really been playing 4 on 5.
100 mil. Come on.
Someone
man.
screenshot this with the caption 100 mil question.
So he's getting $34 million a year. That's what he's asking.
All right, and then the second one here.
$33 million a year, bro. What?
Look at that.
That's free throw line extended, bro. Come on, man. You can't make it up, bro.
He gets away with it somehow.
Dog, it has to be that motion, bro.
I remember this game. We lost this game. Someone found this. There we go. Retweeted. I retweeted it. So everybody retweeted. That's
do you remember when Clay and Draymond let Cat walk up to that 3? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Pain.
Oh my god, bro. I'm about to like.
Okay. He cannot shoot. They cannot leave him open. I trust him way much more than Draymond.
Oh, 100%. Kuminga as a scorer is way better than Draymond as a scorer. 100%. That's not even up for debate.
Let's be real. Steve saying he wouldn't provide no scoring. Just say Draymond is a liability.
Oh, he's definitely a liability.
I mean, that's why he got benched in game 4. So in Boston.
Because
So
the offense from the rookies outweigh Draymond's defense.
They have to respect this shot. They have to.
and Kuminga improved as a shooter faster than Draymond ever improved as a shooter at the start of his career.
Oh my gosh.
Someone
He
said, does
got
Sean
such
Stone have
great
good
footwork.
sources? I don't know. What did he say? What did he say? Steph MVP, what's up, man? You came up here.
Yo, what's up, Dre? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
So yeah, I just wanted to I wanted to join this this playback because I was kind of looking at Moody, and I'm really high on him because I'm higher than him than Kuminga because I saw like productive minutes in the playoffs, and I really think we can build off of that next year. So I really hope they don't trade him because like I'm cool with whatever they decide on Kuminga. Like obviously Kuminga's a physical specimen, and like if they can figure that out, that'd be amazing. But with Moody, I saw him buy into the role, and I saw like I could see like a future with him in Steve Kerr's offense at least, and I wouldn't mind like if they kept him because he's really good, man. Like, and I don't know. I just wanted to get your thoughts on like kind of him and the future. I'm sure you already talked about it a lot before, but yeah, just your thoughts on like in the playoffs, like what I saw was really productive, and Steve trusted him.
Dude, I was
I
gonna say,
agree.
who's this Sean dude?
Yeah, let me check. So no, Steph MVP. That's a great question. So yeah, I mean, man, I saw Moody. Steph retiring after this season's about to be okay. All right, talk soon. Help is on the way. I think he's trolling.
He's a troll, bro.
I think he's trolling. I'm just guessing though. I don't know for a fact.
If he
Don't
gets
quote me
number
on
5
that.
and decides to play golf.
Anyways, let me answer that question. So, with Moody, man, I'll tell you this, right? All season long, he was getting DMPs. Like he was actually probably in a worse. He was probably dealt a worse deck of cards than Kuminga and Jordan, because his skill set and his role kind of overlapped with that of Dante, with Clay, and with GP2 when GP2 got traded. So there wasn't too many minutes to find Moses Moody, and he comes into the playoffs in that Kings series. And he just steps in, instant impact. And what he did was, it wasn't even hitting shots, even though he did hit shots. It was the rebounding, it was the defense.
Right.
And those ancillary things, like, he was getting, like, second chance points, transition stuff, like the connective stuff, passing. And then defensively, he just held his ground pretty well. And then he started to hit some shots. And once he started to hit some shots, it was like, holy shit. And then he started to become like more regular in the rotation. So what you're saying is actually pretty on target because Moody's skill set is more scalable as a role player with what we do because he does so many little things, right? Kuminga as a passer and as a rebounder is not necessarily like his strong suit. He's better as a play finisher and as a defender. And the thing is, in the playoffs, Kuminga defensively was just not getting the job done. And part of it was matchups, but it just wasn't getting the job done. And offensively, right, it just didn't work either. So it was just tough because as a play finisher, you couldn't play him next to Draymond, right? And you couldn't play him next to Looney. And then defensively, he really wasn't a positive. But with Moody, he was just slotted into this 3 spot where he could just run the floor, rebound a little bit, hit some shots, defend, and he wasn't really doing anything at a high level other than hit shots because he was hitting a ton of shots. But he was so stable overall, just wasn't really a negative. I'd argue Moody was more stable than Clay in some ways. Just as a defender and rebounder. He was just in his minutes, he was just so solid. So yeah, I mean, I agree. Like I could see, I trust Moody's scalability more than Kuminga. But what I will say is this: Kuminga, if you put him in the right, if you run pick and roll, because that's the other thing, you don't have to run pick and roll with Moody. Moody can just spot up and catch and shoot. But if you actually play pick and roll with Kuminga, Kuminga looks completely different than he does right now. Like, part of why Kuminga doesn't look as scalable or as ready as Moody does is because Kuminga's skill set is so much different and his strengths
Right.
are far different than that of Moody. So, like, if you can run pick and roll with Kuminga, I think he looks much, 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 much
Yeah,
better,
right. I
especially
think
offensively.
with the pick and
Offensively.
roll thing, your point, like I agree with you on that, and I wanted to ask you another question about that. Was I agree that Kaminga looks really good in the pick and roll, and bringing Christopher
Yeah,
over will definitely help with that. I was kind of wanted to ask you, like, did you get a chance to watch Trace's film, and do you think that
I
he'll have
did.
any impact in the pick and roll with Chris? Because like I really liked. Um, I really like Trace's film, but I just don't know. Like, obviously, with the whole rookie shit with Kerr, like, I don't know what to expect. But like, kind of wanted to see what you think on that as well.
Speaking of
100%.
speaking of somebody was I forgot his name, but they were talking about Clay should have been benched. Do you think there's a scenario where Clay could become a second unit player this season, or that's like not realistic?
All right, let me answer the first question. So with the Trace Jackson Davis film, bro, he is first of all. So yeah, we were actually doing a little big board before the draft, like the day before the draft or 2 days before the draft. We did like a big board, and basically what we did was we went through a bunch of names that were available at 19, and then a bunch of names that we could trade up for or trade down for. And so what we found was Trace Jackson Davis was a name that we could trade down for. He was supposed to be a first round pick. He ended up going 57th. I mean, it was a shock. A lot of people call it the steal of the draft. So we were actually watching the film and just breakdowns on all of these prospects. And what we found with Trace Jackson Davis was kind of the way I view him is in the Onyeka Okongwu type of mold archetype. We're just like a 6'9" big that can run the floor, can finish above the rim, super athlete, right? Just long arms, great pop, great like pop from a vertical standpoint. Defensively, he averaged 3 blocks a game. And watching the film, like defensively, he will be. I think he'll be a positive. He can switch out a little bit. He has good feet. Like he's very mobile. And then offensively, like you mentioned, next to Chris Paul, like I
Mm-hmm.
do think there is some potential there when it comes to like pick and roll.
All right, catch
And
y'all. Peace, bro.
I man, see ya, bro. Um, I do think there is some potential when it comes to like pick and roll and some like high ball screen stuff where like you just have him dive to the rim, just straight dive. And he can finish over the top. That being a lob threat, like being a lob threat, was a big thing in his film in college because offensively he's not necessarily polished. Like like TJD is more so a play finisher. He's not necessarily like a shot creator. He's not like DeAndre Ayton, right? He's not DeAndre Ayton. He's more of like literally Onyeka Okongwu, who's more of a above the rim lob threat who can catch drop passes and finish off of set plays or whatnot, like downhill stuff. So
Mm.
when I watch him, I'm like, okay, there is some potential here. Now, personally, I prefer to sign a backup big in general. Like, I'd rather have like a buffer. So we start Looney, then we have like a backup big, and then we have Trace Jackson Davis as our third string. I think that would be nice, but I do think even in general, in a vacuum, there is potential in some lineups a little bit, just to develop a little bit. I do think we can. He is playable because he is a positive defender, and on top of that, he is athletic, so he can run the floor. Like this is why you don't pick Wiseman at number 2 because of a guy like Trace Jackson Davis, who's like, yeah, he's not necessarily polished offensively, but like he's a clear positive on defense. He rebounds well. He can switch a little bit, and he has good hands. He's a great play finisher. Like we just drafted so stupidly for like a couple of years, and these were the right picks actually. If you think about it from a skill set and a stylistic standpoint, these were actually the right picks. So I do think to maximize TJD, we're gonna need to play pick and roll, and I think Chris Paul would be a huge help for that. But I think ultimately, watching his film, I think he can be. So when we watch him at the beginning of the year, I think we might be able to see a noticeable improvement by the end of the year if we actually play him next to Chris Paul, because I do think he is a 4-year college player. He's 23 years old, so he has some experience. I think at the pro level, you just need to have some certain reps and understanding like what the pro game is. But like when you play in college that long, you also have seen a lot. You've seen different coverages and different personnel and stuff like that. So you've gone through certain, you've seen a lot more than like a 2-year college player. Like Moses Moody is 21 years old. Like he was one and done. Kuminga played for the G League Ignite, one and done. They're both younger than TJD. So I expect TJD to be super NBA ready actually. And when you watch the film, you see a lot of like NBA tools at the center spot. And I also want to say one more thing. Like, you saw like in the playoffs, backup bigs. Who did Miami like? They had Cody Zeller, bro.
Right.
Like Cody Zeller, and then the Nuggets had Jeff Green, who's like a small ball 5. And then you look at Boston, right? Who was their backup big? I guess you could say like Rob Will, but not really because he's kind of like a starter. Like he doesn't really.
Rob is their biggest guy, so I wouldn't even call
Yeah.
him a true backup. He's not
Yeah,
playing
like him and
backup over
Al
both.
are kind of like starters, so like they don't really have a backup per se. Yeah, they staggered with Rob and Al, exactly. So like TJD, man, if shit goes right, I could see him being like a Rob Will type of backup big kind of thing where you can stagger his minutes with like Looney, sort of.
Yeah.
Like I can see him being a legit starting caliber player. I actually think he has some good potential. So, but to answer your question, I do think Chris Paul in the pick and roll would help elevate his game, and that's where he thrives. Like TJD isn't like a post player that creates his own shot. Like he's not DeAndre Ayton. He is a finisher. He is a lob threat. So we're gonna have to like change how we play to optimize his skill set. Like literally, what we did not do with Wiseman is what we should do with him. So hopefully Steve changes and adjusts because he can pass. Like TJD can pass and he can find guys in the corner. Like he has great vision at the 5 spot. So there's a lot of potential there, but you have to play to his strengths. And I don't expect him to play a lot of minutes this year, but I do think that for stretches he can be a positive for us, and we can be optimistic by the end of the year, seeing improvements and be like, look, this is a guy that's worth having on our 15-man roster over the next 2, 3, 4 years because his skill set he's improving, and he's a guy that like you want to feel good about it, right? Did we feel good? Did we feel good about Wiseman last year? Honestly, did we feel good about Wiseman last year at all?
Absolutely
Like, no.
not. Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
So you see what I'm saying? Like that, we need to have plans. You know what I'm saying? Real plans. Yeah, I guess that's just my long-winded answer on that. But we didn't feel good about Wiseman. We really didn't feel good about Kuminga. But we felt good about
Right.
Moody. You
Like
know?
with Trace, it's like he's so like there's so many good qualities. Why the hell did he drop to 57 though? That's I just can't understand.
I know.
Like,
I think I'll tell you why. He's not traditional. Like
the same reason why Imani Bates has like way like bigger reasons, but there are literally lottery picks that have fallen.
No, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why Steph MVP. It's because he's a 4-year player. Right? He doesn't have like a quote unquote high ceiling, right? When you're a 4-year player, you're just not going to be picked like in the first round, typically. Like teams draft for more so for potential. So he was a 4-year player. He's 23 years old. So that's kind of on the older side. Like Dante DiVincenzo, for reference, is 25 years old. Like and then for reference, Moses Moody's 21. So like he's younger than Dante but older than Moody. Like, and he's a rookie. So like that's why he fell so low. And then on top of that, his skill set is actually very unique. Like TJD is a very unique player. Like he kind of plays a little bit like Draymond, like a little bit. Like he has some of Draymond stuff, but like if you're not like a front court player that can shoot, it's kind of tough. because most teams don't play the way Draymond does. Here's the thing. You say two Draymonds. Here's my thing. He's a better finisher than Draymond. So, when I say he's similar to Draymond, I'm saying TJD is similar in the sense that he can pass, which is a positive at the 5. Huge positive. He can find guys in the corner. He can rim roll, rim run. He can do stuff. And he has great passing vision. He's very unselfish. And he just plays like a wing almost. But he's kind of like a big. It's hard to explain. But basically what I'm trying to say is his skill set combined with his experience is why he drops so low. His skill set's unique, doesn't fit a ton of teams. It fits us like a glove, but it doesn't fit most teams. And then his experience and lack of ceiling, quote unquote, is also a turnoff for a lot of teams, So that's probably my answer there.
It's really interesting
Too
with this
perfect of a pick.
because you saw, I'm genuinely wondering, was Bob behind those terrible picks now? Because the Lakers given the green light for Dunleavy to do these picks that kind of go with our timeline. So I wonder, makes me kind of question.
That's a great question. Honestly, remember what they said. They're like, well, Draymond texted me Moody, and then he texted me Kuminga. We don't even know, man. Maybe Draymond's word means a ton. Maybe Bob has the final call. Maybe Lacob was behind everything. It's really hard to say. But you are right. It is a change in philosophy. It's a change in approach. It's a change in concept, conceptually, drafting more skill. TJD is a skill big. I know he is a play finisher or whatever, but he's a skill big. So is Pods. Pods is a skilled guard. He's not necessarily, but he rebounds too. It's interesting. We picked players that have certain strengths, but they're also unique in some ways. Pods shot 45% from 3, but he also averaged 9 rebounds per game. So that's a very unique combination.
Were you higher on Pods or Jaime Jaquez?
I was higher on Jaquez.
Yeah, fuck Miami, man. They took Jovic and now they took.
I know.
Yeah.
You know what? I was higher on Jaquez, and the reason I was because I just liked his shot creation a lot. I just thought he was just such a slippery player, and his footwork was really good. But Pods is nice. I mean, I think there's some concerns about Pods defensively, and he didn't. I don't know how good the competition he played was, but I do think there is potential for a guy that averaged 9 rebounds and 45 from 3. There is something there, and he is skilled, and he is unselfish, and he has a good mentality. Those stuff matter, but I do think Jaquez
Hey man,
was
I
the better
got one
basketball
good
player.
question, Doc.
What's up?
What if Kuminga and Steph Curry do a pick and roll?
Oh, it's a
What if
layup
they
every time.
develop a Steph and Kuminga pick and roll?
Steph Kuminga pick and rolls. I don't know the exact points per possession, but I will tell you this: that's a bucket every time. I mean, what do you do as it? So I can break that down. Defensively, right? You go under the screen. That's a Steph 3. You go over the screen. Kuminga dives at 6'8". Steph can either throw the little pocket pass or a lob. That's a dunk. Either way, if you play over too much to the Kuminga, Steph, that's a floater for him or a layup. If you trap the ball screen, Kuminga can just go downhill, either finish at the rim or find the open man.
I say that because I'm looking at these highlights and Kuminga is strong. If he has a head full of steam going to it, you better hope you go in time to
No, you're
get
exactly
a
right.
charge.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. It is scary. You're exactly right. See, that's why I'm saying what Steve does. Kuminga looks less ready than Moody because we don't play to his strengths at all. He just looks like, honestly, if you think about it, Kuminga's done a better job than he should. Considering the circumstances, he's done actually a better job than you would think because we don't really play to his strengths. We should be running pick and roll for him. We should be running downhill stuff for him. We should not be having him,
Right.
Camp out at the 3.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like him in the corner. I like him 45 cuts, downhill, transition, pick and roll, high ball screen. That's what we should be doing. It's a fucking bucket every time. And he can knock, bro. He's working on his shots too, by the way. Like Kuminga's working on his offense. Like I'm telling you this. I'm no idiot. Like I do understand if you trade Kuminga for like Kyle Anderson, whatever, just a name. It's just a name. Don't freak out over it. I'm just saying, for a vet, for a championship piece. If you trade Kuminga for a championship piece, I understand that you're probably going to lose that trade. Just in general, like, you are going to lose that trade. But what's the point of having him on the roster if Steve isn't going to play him? You're losing the trade right there. You're losing the non-trade. Like, if you don't make the move and he isn't playing, you're losing the non-trade. So you might as well just trade. Like, you kind of have to trade if he's not going to play.
It comes down to whether or not Mike is going to put his foot down.
I think Mike will. I think Mike will, and I think he should. I think he
With
will.
CP3 here, he'll be ready.
I think he will.
Yeah, so I'll say this. Urkel has been on the record about this. He was the other day. He talked about this a little bit at length. Did you know, like, the front office this year was kind of pissed at Kerr? Like, they were not happy. They have a strained relationship. Like, what Kerr did this year with Anthony Lamb and Jerome and all this shit, like, they were pissed, bro. They were not happy that he basically parks Kuminga and Moody on the bench the whole year. Like, they were not happy. And it sounds to me like if he does some shit like this again, he might be gone. Like, I'm not gonna mince words. He might be in trouble. He might be on the hot seat. So
Not to cut you off,
better, you know?
not to cut you off, but I saw this highlight. Like JP missed Moody wide open into the at the basket, bro. This is where that would not happen with CP3 on the roster, bro. Even though Doku made the dunk, Moody was wide open.
No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Yeah, Chris Paul the value in Chris Paul is actually more like playmaking. Like, his playmaking is going to be such a huge asset because he can elevate, Kuminga and Moody in ways that Jordan Poole couldn't. Look at that. I mean,
the value of Chris Paul, I see him as developing his second unit like he did with them everywhere he goes.
I can see a possibility where Kerr is out early in the season simply because, like, I think he romanticizes the idea of going down with the ship.
No, mommy has a lot.
Yeah, man. For all that they've been through, man, Moody and Kuminga is so polished. Their games are polished right now. The stuff they were doing in year one on defense, they're cleaning it up. It takes a couple of seasons, but they're not bad.
No, I agree 100%. They're
Moody, my problem with him was his staying in front of his defenders. He don't have that issue now.
He improved on, he improved on a couple things, right? Like, I think he's improved on positioning offensively, like understanding where to be. I think he's improved on defensive awareness and schemes. I think he's improved on like connectivity overall, understanding like activity, connectivity, those concepts. And I think Kuminga's really improved off the ball, like cutting, finding guys, like playmaking too. Like, he's really improved at that. He's gotten a little bit better at rebounding, but it's not where we need it to be. Shooting has been improved, and defense has been improved. Like, Kuminga's actually improved at everything. So he just needs to continue to, improve in those areas, and Steve needs to give him the chance to play. But I don't know. And then there's this also factor, like, does Kuminga even want to be here anymore? Like, I don't know. Like, I actually don't know, because that article that Slater wrote at the end of the year where he's like, Kuminga's representatives are going to meet with the Warriors to discuss, like, what the future is and blah, blah, blah. Like, that matters. Like, if Kuminga is not going to buy in because he feels like he's not given a fair opportunity, and to no fault of his own, like, he's fair in thinking that, like, if that is his sentiment, like, then there is no, path forward. It is what it is at that point. So we're gonna see, like, we're gonna have to see if how willing both parties are gonna be in terms of making this whole thing work.
Looking back at like last offseason and what Dunleavy's doing, and obviously Dunleavy has a lot to do still, but like, man, that last offseason was horrific. Like, now looking back on it, I don't think Bob could have done a worse job. Like, now I'm looking back, like whenever I'm looking at his acquisitions and even the draft, I'm like, damn, like he kind of missed on every single one except Dante. But
yeah, no, you're right. I mean, well, who did we draft? We drafted Rollins and PBJ, right?
Yeah,
and PBJ
absolutely
was nice.
No reason for that.
Yeah, and PBJ was okay, but he didn't even play at all. So I mean, at the end of the day, he didn't contribute. And then
he didn't play, and he's injury prone.
Yeah, injury prone. And
Ryan Rollins, he drafted Ryan Rollins with a fractured foot, like right away. I was like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah. He said they liked the value pick. It was a value pick.
Terrible pick.
Terrible. We moved up and spent money on that.
Like, when he played, he didn't shots.
Bad.
Yeah, and then we got fucking we got JMG, which was a disaster.
It was a bad fit for us, man. Like, honestly.
And then all props to JMG. Like, he's a good player. He just wasn't a good fit for us. But as a front office, you should recognize that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He couldn't really get rebounds.
Dante was okay.
His defense was suspect.
Dante, I don't even credit Bob for Dante though. I credit Draymond and Steph for Dante.
Yeah, that's what Dante said, is that they reached out to him.
Yeah, so I credit them actually.
Well,
the one thing about Dunleavy is it seems to be more of the aggressive type of mold in terms of
he has a vision,
approaching.
I respect, and
He has a direction. There's a direction. Yeah, 100%.
I respect, even if it's like not a move that I agree with. I respect that he's staying consistent.
Absolutely.
The thing is, Bob's strength was his relationship, but like Dunleavy's strength is his actual basketball acumen.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
I don't wanna give Dunleavy his flowers too quickly either, because he still has this free agency to do, and I'm
no. No, it's not even that. It's like, we got Wiseman, he wanted Murray or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like he knew what the fit was, and he stood by his philosophy.
Obviously, like, none of that's confirmed, so I don't really know. Like, there's speculation, which is fine. Like, if Dunleavy was on that train, like,
Dunleavy for sure wouldn't have drafted Wiseman. There's not enough data.
Yeah, I don't think he does. I don't think he drafts Wiseman.
There's not enough data. No way. This man only played 6 games, and you thought this was okay?
In your head, Dre, like, like, obviously Shadow was talking about how, like, Chris Paul is gonna, like, the name itself is gonna bring some free agents. Like, what free agents do you think are a good fit with Chris Paul, like, that are available on that minimum?
Yeah, I mean, Torrey Craig. That's the name that I've been saying for, like,
yeah, I saw a tweet today that said, like, Torrey Craig is, like, impossible for us because, like, he makes, like, $5 million or something, and he's
so basically he'd have to take a pay cut. Yeah, he would. Like he makes the MLE, so he would have to take $2 million. In other words, he'd have to want to come here because he's making $5 million right now. So he would have to want to come here. You know what I'm saying?
If Chris Paul wants to win a championship, like for real win a championship, he will get him here if he's available.
I was thinking, Dre, what do you think of Jeff Green? I don't think he leaves Denver, but...
Nah, he's not.
That's a name that I've looked at too, but again, the wing market is so thin that Jeff Green and Torrey Craig might be the best there is, because Yuta Watanabe, I don't know how realistic he is on the minimum. I don't know Like I like Josh Okogie, but he can't shoot. Like I like him
Yeah.
though because he can defend and rebound.
At some point, we need some shooting on the bench.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. We do
What do you think?
front court
Yeah,
shooting.
I mean, obviously, I don't really know the whole Iguodala situation, but I don't expect him back. But like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. So hopefully, he doesn't take up a roster spot again. But I like that we got rid of Ryan Rollins, so we do have that roster spot at least. But
Yes. Yeah, and I will say this as well, right? Like, consider that. We still need a front court. So like Kevin Love, that's a name where I'm like, okay, he can rebound, but he can't defend. And see, that's the thing. Is like we're giving something up with whoever we sign. Like Josh Okogie, well, he can defend and rebound really well, but he can't shoot. Okay, Kevin Love, well, he can shoot and rebound and play make a little bit, but can he really defend? I mean, maybe a little bit, but not really. Like you need like a positive defender,
if they get rid, so I don't really know how the luxury tax works, but like, if for free agencies, but like, if they get rid of Kuminga, let's say, like, and they get like pick compensations, and they get rid of that $7 million, like, would they be able to like sign like someone for $7 million, or is that not how it works?
No, I think you just have to trade that salary slot. Like you'd have to trade that salary slot because you just basically you're getting money off the books if you're doing that.
Okay.
But basically, like again, this is why Torrey Craig to me is the dream target because Torrey Craig can defend, can rebound, can shoot. Like he can literally do everything, and he can cut. He can do everything. Like literally can do everything. So like if we get him, like huge for us. If we can't get him,
without Torrey Craig, that Clippers and Suns series might have been 7. And I don't want to go that far and say that.
Without Kawhi. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to go that far and be like, oh, the Clippers would have won, but like, man, Torrey Craig was like doing some special stuff like in that series.
Oh, I know. I'm aware. All right, I want to just break down some numbers here because you're right. Because Torrey Craig was hitting shot after shot after shot, like rebounding well, doing everything, bro. And mind you, he was their like 5th best player base. I mean, bro, Kevin Durant better, Devin Booker better, Chris Paul better, DeAndre Ayton better. Like he was probably their 5th best player, and he was swinging the series. So yeah, dude, I'm telling you, if we got Torrey Craig, guys, you're gonna see me react the same way I reacted when we got Dante. Like. It's a big pickup because, again, part of why I was excited for Dante was because we had just lost GP2. So, like, we lost GP2. We had no avenues. I didn't even think we'd get Dante. I was writing his option off. I was like, yeah, he's out of our price range. We're just not going to get him. And then we ended up getting him. And I was like, holy shit, we fucking got him because we had nobody to replace G. If we didn't get Dante, we probably don't make the playoffs because we needed a dude that could give us some production and some positive impact off the bench, especially when Steph went down. Like there were games Dante was even better than Poole. So like he was so big for it. Now in the playoffs he wasn't that good. And part of why that's the case is because Jordan wasn't good and we just didn't have the pieces around him and he's a guard and it was just a mess. So it is what it is. He did his job. It's fine. But if we get Torrey Craig would be a huge addition. Huge. And then if we can make a move or two, maybe another free agent, and then maybe make a trade or something. I love Kyle Anderson. We're gonna watch some Kyle Anderson highlights just because we have to. I have to see. I want people to see what I see, so I want to do that. But before I do that, I want to get into these numbers. So first of all, look at these numbers. So you see right here, Chris Paul on the Suns. These are all 3 years he's been on the Suns. The leverage is medium to very high. So these are all like decent leverage, leverage possessions, like and minutes. So this is in the regular season. In the regular season for all 3 years, Chris Paul. So when he's on the court, the Suns were a plus 6.9. When he was off, they were a plus 4.3, which means they were a bigger positive when he was on the court than when he was off. Which means that's positive impact. That's a good thing. All right, now if I go to the playoffs here, you see Now look at this. In the playoffs, Chris Paul, and this is a pretty solid sample size, the Suns were a plus 5.4 with Chris Paul on the court. And when he was off, they were a minus 6.4. Huge discrepancy. Huge discrepancy. They were basically two different teams. That's a what? A damn near 12-point net rating swing. So, again, this is in Chris Paul's washed years with the Suns, past 3 seasons in the playoffs during medium to high leverage or very high leverage possessions. All 3 years in the playoffs, plus 5.4 on, minus 6.4 off. So this guy, again, this guy's a major positive, and he has been for his entire career. Now, I want to go, and I'm going to move to Kuminga and Moody, just so people can see. Let me do this. Just I want people to see, like, contextualize the numbers of their impact the last few years. Showing the regular season. And then let me get Moody. Actually, let's start with Kuminga. So Kuminga, need this. So Kuminga, okay, so now, again, this is not going to be pretty because of a bunch of reasons. Like, we can get into all the reasons why it's not going to be pretty, but it's not going to be pretty. So Kuminga, when he's on the court, the Warriors are a -1 or a minus 0.8, same thing, whatever. When he's off the court, they're a +4. So obviously the Warriors, like, in these seasons where, he's been on the court, like, they've been a negative, slight negative. When he's off the court, they're clearly a positive. Now, I don't think these numbers mean the world because a lot of that has to go into these numbers has to do with coaching, play style, personnel, a bunch of stuff. But I do think it's worth, taking a look at. You want to look at these numbers. And then you look at Moses Moody. Let me find Moody. Okay. Get rid of Kuminga. Now, with Moody's case, he's a little bit less of a negative. So, Kuminga was a -0.8. Kuminga was a -0.8. Moody's a -0.5. So, just a slightly better negative on the court. Off the court, again, like 3.6, +4, basically. So, again, when Moody and Kuminga are on, the Warriors are slight negatives. When they're off, they're clear positives, very clear positives. And again, the sample size is overwhelming, overwhelming sample size. So there's that. And then let's go to the playoffs. So that's in the regular season, by the way. That's in the regular season. In the playoffs, in Moody's case, mind you, I'm using medium to very high leverage minutes. In the playoffs, -2 when Moody's on, +5 when he's off. Now with Kuminga, you're going to see similar numbers. Again, these don't mean everything, right? This isn't the end-all, be-all, but when he's on, -17. When he's off, +6. So again, this isn't good. But these are just numbers that you want to take into consideration when you look at impact and when you look at, like, who's a positive. We've seen what Chris Paul is, right? Chris Paul, and mind you, he's been in the league for a damn near 20 years. So there's a reason he's such a positive. But, we have to look at everything holistically. The highlights, the lowlights, and then, weaknesses, things that he can work on, and then also just what the numbers show you. Now, this is the most disappointing part, and this I blame Steve Kerr on. This might be the biggest thing. So Steph and Kuminga, when they're together, they're a -3.
Wow.
That's a problem. That just can't happen, right? Anybody that's next to Steph is virtually always a positive, right? Like, the only names I could think of that are glaringly bad next to Steph are Kelly Oubre and James Wiseman. So Kuminga being a -3 is very discouraging. Now, funny enough, look at this. When Steph is on and Kuminga is off, this is, by the way, look at the sample size. 3 years. 3-year sample size, medium to very high leverage minutes. So you see, like, this is a very concentrated sample size. Now, when you see right here, Steph is on, Kuminga off, +8.5. That's you got to consider that. Kuminga on, Steph off, they're a +1.
Wow.
But when they're on together, they're a -3. Something's off. You see that, guys? Something is wrong here. There's something wrong with that. Take off 2021? You're right. Let me take 2021 off. Let me get Kuminga. The numbers might even look actually even crazier because all right, let's see. Oh, they're around the same. Okay, so actually in this case for Steph it's a +11, which is, even crazier in his case. +1 for Kuminga, that remains the same. -3 together. So actually Steph's number went up when you take out 2021 because 2021 dragged it down. But when you take out 2021, so the 2 years Kuminga was been in the league, right? Medium to very high leverage, regular season, right? Steph went with Kuminga off, +11.5. Kuminga with Steph off, +1, but them together is a -3. And the sample size is pretty high. So this is glaring, guys. This is something that this is pick and roll. This is Steve Kerr failing. So the hope is that we run pick and roll because this cannot happen, right? Steph Curry next to Kuminga needs to be a positive. It cannot be a fucking -3. It's a fucking problem.
It's going to do wonders for the kid.
Now, look at Steph and Moody. Let's try Moody now. So Moody and Steph. So now this is a little bit different. So Steph with Moody off is a +8.7. Moody with Steph off is a -3. So he's not a positive, by the way. Like Steph, so Kuminga with Steph off was a +1. But Moody with Steph off is a -3. So you see that, Moody might need Steph a little bit more. And you see right here, Steph and Moody together are a +4. So again, the sample size is growing, right? This isn't the end all be all. Kuminga might take a third-year leap, and we might have a difference in play style. Steve Kerr might adjust. But I'm just saying these numbers are worth looking at. Because you see, together Moody and Steph are a +4. Kuminga and Steph are a -3. Kuminga without Steph is a +1. Moody without Steph is a -3. Steph without Moody is a +8.5. Steph without Kuminga is a +11.5. Very interesting. And then let me try the playoffs. Small sample size. This sample size is almost meaningless. But Steph and Moody together, -3. Okay. Steph without Moody, +7, whatever. Again, the sample size isn't that much, so I don't read too much into it, but, it's worth looking at, just to look at. And then Kuminga and Steph together are -12. Steph without Kuminga, +7.5. So again, we need, we need to make some changes in how we approach this whole thing. Let me I want to do one thing. I'm just going to look at Kyle Anderson's just to make a point because I do think people should see what I see from a numerical standpoint, from a statistical lens. And mind you, I'm gonna show Kyle Anderson highlights too. Do not get me. Don't get it wrong.
Right about your Kyle Anderson point. I was seeing some of the some of your tweets on Twitter, but I saw some pushback. I saw some of the pushback, and obviously from Coach Ricky, he's like he brought up an interesting point that I didn't get to see your response yet, but he was talking about how bringing Kyle Anderson or something, or I don't know if it was Ricky, but someone was saying that Kyle Anderson's kind of known for his slow-mo, and we're kind of looking for some athleticism now. What do you think about that point and that pushback on?
I think that's fair. I think that is fair. I think we got to make a decision, right? Are we going to choose athleticism that may not develop because of Kerr's rigidity, or are we going to decide to go towards more so skill and experience with Kyle Anderson, who's 29 years old. He is a vet. And if we make that move, right, then you get a player who may not be as athletic. He's not as fast. But he is a vet and he is more polished. So I mean, hey, like, yeah, you're giving up athleticism, you're giving up some attributes, but you're getting back some efficiency there. There's some efficiency with Kyle Anderson. Like, Kuminga's just not as efficient a player right now.
Like,
So I think it's a fair, yeah.
Yeah, my main thing is like I like Kyle Anderson. I watched a lot of Timberwolves basketball. He's definitely an impact player. It's just for us, like in that Kings series, it was like, wow, we kind of need some speed and athleticism, and I feel like, yeah.
That's fair.
So
That's very fair.
it just depends on what we do in free agency, obviously. But yeah,
No,
it was
you're
just
right.
something I was thinking about.
I am 100%. Listen, there is no such thing as a flawless roster. Every roster has some type of weakness. The question is, if Steve isn't going to play him, like, or isn't going to develop him, what's the point? Like,
and it
no, but
depends
it's not just that, guys. I keep harping on it. I've been telling you guys for 4 months.
I know. Yeah, Kuminga doesn't
Their
want to be there.
relationship is so ruined.
Yeah,
it's just like two people are married. There's 2 years of straight domestic violence. Even if they stay together, it will never be the same.
right.
Like Kuminga there, it will never be the same. Even if Kuminga becomes an all-star, an MVP, it's 50% of his trajectory just based off of these guys' strained relationship.
Yeah.
Steve is arguing with the front office. Remember, Bob and Steve were one team. Kirk Lakeup, and Joe Lakeup were another team. They were both bickering about Wiseman, both fighting about Wiseman. I already told you guys. I laid it on the line. Bob left because he didn't want to trade Draymond and Clay. If it was up to Lakeup, Draymond would be out the fucking door, and so would Clay. But currently, the NBA doesn't work like that. You can't just slot people in, especially if there's chemistry. Like, chemistry outweighs talent. But then when you get two talented people there, the better talent is going to win. Perfect example. Why the Miami Heat went as the 8th seed and went all the way to the chip with the dip? Because they have chemistry. It wasn't their talent. They had cohesiveness. We keep talking about.
Oh, you cut out there, Shadow. But you're spitting facts right now. You're exactly right. We gotta build the chemistry and connectivity.
I also think with the whole JK thing, like I think he's at fault a little bit too. It's just not all on Kerr, like we keep saying like Kerr, but it's also on JK and his mindset towards like, buying in. So I don't know. It's all like just so political, like in terms of what they're gonna do next.
Yeah. I mean, what we need. What was the word that they used? They said connectivity. Right. Anyways, I want to just point these numbers out. So Kyle Anderson, when he's on, +3. When he's off, -3. That's basically a Chris Paul type of impact on the Timberwolves this year. Like, just two different teams when he's on versus off. And mind you, he's not playing next to Steph Curry. He's playing next to fucking Mike Conley and Anthony Edwards. So, like, just different teams, bro. Different players. And like I said, Kuminga is 20 years old or whatever he is, 2021. Like, he's going to be a positive one day. It may not. It hasn't been the last 2 years. But maybe one day he will be. I don't know if it'll be next year. I don't know if it'll be in 3 years. The question is if Steve plays to his strengths. If Steve plays to his strengths, we might see it sooner than later. But until that happens, we may never see it, honestly. Because Kuminga and Steph together are a -3. That's a problem, bro. Steph and Moody together are a +4. And Moody is like every statistical marker suggests that Kuminga and Moody are virtually the same in terms of like impact. The different one is when you compare with Steph. Like every statistical marker says like, oh, Moody, Kuminga, they're like basically the same, like negative impact. They're both just, negatives, whatever. But when you compare them next to Steph in those lineups, it's like two different players. So again, it's connectivity. It's about playing the right way, changing up the skill set, changing up the play style so that you match up with the skill set, right? Pick and roll, downhill, that kind of thing. Ball screens, right? You don't want to just run Kuminga in motion and then have him struggle to, shoot threes and make certain reads. And you got to play to what he's good at, what he's best at. So, like I said, and Shadow has been referencing this too about the relationship is beyond repair. So
Send that
we'll
man to
see if he,
Indiana or somewhere and let's get a comparable piece, bro. Send him
yeah.
away, bro. And you guys already know I'm the most biased African there is on the planet, bro. I love Kuminga, bro. I was screaming Kuminga from draft day. I told everybody he's gonna be him. Kerr just ruined it. The relationship is too strained, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And even from our roster construction, like we don't need no perfect roster, bro. We've never had a good roster ever. Front to back, we've never had that. Never.
Shadow, how do you see us like attacking like another big like Anthony Davis in the playoffs like this offseason? Like how to
Exactly like how we did with fucking GP2. We cracked the code and fucking Kerr ran off on a tangent and comes in the second half and says, Clay, hold my beer. Shoot 15 threes or shoot 15 shots and go 2 for 18 like a weirdo. Bro, we are fucking absolutely picking these guys apart. We were up double digits. At one point, we were up by, what, 14? 15?
Yep.
Then this guy just says, you know what? Gary Payton's fucking totally destroying AD. Sit him down. Play him 22 minutes for the fucking entire game. And play Clay for, what did Clay play? 43 or something? 44 minutes? Somewhere in there, if not more.
Yeah. And again, Urkel, I just broke down a ton of numbers with Moody and Kuminga about, their impact and whatnot. And it was able to shed light on what lineups worked and what players and what combinations worked and stuff. And again, Steve is going to have to change his approach and play style for them to fit in next year. Like my belief, especially with adding Chris Paul, my belief is that unless we make adjustments and changes to our approach from a play style standpoint, I don't see us hitting our ceiling actually. Like just because the personnel that we have on the roster right now demands that. Like you need to change it up for Chris Paul.
Yeah.
You need to change it up for, what I'm saying? And we looked at, so when Moody was next to Steph in the 2 years they've played together, Moody and Steph lineups are a +4. Kuminga and Steph lineups are a -3. Right? And we've explained why before. Like it's really the offense that's the issue. It's just difficult. And because we don't play to Kuminga's strengths. If we played to Kuminga's strengths, those lineups would be more of a positive, but they aren't for that reason.
So that's what I've been trying to tell people.
Yeah.
I've been trying to tell people that it's like when you put guys like Kuminga, when you like, even if you put other guys, 6-year, 7-year vets around Steph, and say they're like the archetype of like a Kuminga or the archetype of even a Moses Moody, right? But they're, I don't know, they're 5, 6 years more experienced. I don't think it would make a difference because the entire league plays a certain way. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the Oubre thing, right? Like you put Oubre somewhere else and you have him do simpler shit, it would be better. But the thing that they're doing when they give Draymond the ball at the top, and Draymond is running this action and, he's not being guarded by two people, you know what I'm saying? Like, it throws a monkey wrench in the offense. And if you're not that kind of player where you're moving off ball and you're running around and you're doing this and you're doing that, it's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? Now, the amount of concessions that have to be made for Draymond Green is unbelievable, right?
Bro,
so
we were
when you hear Lacob sit up there,
yeah,
yeah.
go ahead,
so when you see Draymond up there, bro, and you see him at the top of the key, somebody just added you in something right now, and
yeah, we were going
Draymond is
through
at the
film.
free throw line.
Yeah, we were going through film in playback. We were going through film.
Like, take the fucking shot, man. Like,
yeah, yep.
So it's shit like that really just destroys the offense. And then
when you see young guys struggle, like sometimes they can be doing shit right, but I mean that's kind of not their game. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like Steph
Exactly.
can't elevate them in other ways. You know what I'm saying? But honest to God,
Mm-hmm.
bro, I think way too many concessions get made for Draymond, bro. Like, why are we hiding his flaws every single possession? Like, I heard somebody say some shit one time. They were like, "Oh, like the offense never falters with Nikola Jokic. Like they always get like the good shit going in. Like there's never a lull in the offense. Every time the offense lulls, you think it's because of Steph? No, bro, it's because of fucking Draymond Green. Like this is what people are not understanding, and it's like, at some point, like why did you think Lake Up went to the podium and was saying that shit? They don't want to pay him that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Of course he's gonna fucking resign. You know what I'm saying? So where else was he gonna go? It's almost like Ben Simmons in Brooklyn right now. Like, you think if you put Draymond and dudes are running that shit, you think they're gonna run off ball like that and do all of this? Not fuck no. No, nobody else is doing this. This is why the play style is so unique. You know. So I don't know.
You're exactly right. No,
how
you're
much film
exactly
did you
right.
go through?
Well, we went through a good amount of film because we were trying to break down like what Kuminga's strengths are, where Moody fits in, and that kind of thing. And one of the clips was literally against the Lakers with AD and dudes in the paint, 4 feet in the paint, and it's like Draymond is. It was almost laughable, and Kuminga actually hit a couple shots on the perimeter, which bailed Draymond out. Mind you,
Yeah.
it's not even just Steve Kerr that's hurting Kuminga. It's a guy like Draymond that hurts Kuminga too, because you can't play Kuminga next to Draymond because Draymond is handicapping the offense, so it hurts Kuminga's ability to thrive because now there's less space. You know?
So that's my thing. So you hear Steve Kerr say this, that, and the other about Kuminga and Moody and all of that, but yet you have Draymond out there. Like, so for Kuminga and Moody to break the lineup, they're gonna have to defend and rebound their asses off. Like that's where it's gonna start because fair or unfair, that's what they're gonna need to do. The reason why GP2 works is because he is a terror on ball. You know what I'm saying? And he does all of the little things off ball as well. And then you know what? He's not a bad connective passer either because yesterday I briefly hopped in and I saw you showing a clip of where I think it was AD and Vando up top and GP2 was setting a screen. So he set the screen, Steph was up top, and he immediately slips to the rim. Draymond is in the corner. Next thing you know, GP2 is at the rim, and he just does like a shovel pass to Wiggins. Wiggins has a layup.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I'm
that
saying?
was
So
one of the first plays.
GP2 is a really good connective passer, right? So that's one of the things that actually works for. It's actually one of the things that works for GP2, right? So those are the things that we have to recognize and all of that. Like I get it. We're down on these young guys sometimes, but we don't realize the concessions that we make for Draymond, dog. Like, and I mean, yeah, he's really great on defense and all of this stuff, but let's face facts, dog. It's an offensive league. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And the concessions that we have to make for him is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I seen a clip yesterday or like an excerpt that was talking about it was talking about Draymond was it talking about Draymond? It was talking about how like the guys need to be able to stay on the floor. Like they have to be able to defend, man. They have to be able to.
You're right. No, our defense is really the main issue here. And that's why Kyle Anderson's just a name, but that's why a guy like look at that pass. That's why a guy like Kyle Anderson is a guy that would fit in our system. Really, he would. I mean, he can defend. Bro, do you remember the playing game, Urkel? Do you remember we watched it on your playback? Do you remember that? We watched the playing game with the Timberwolves and Lakers on your playback, and Kyle Anderson was dominating. Bro, he was dominating the Lakers in that game, like rebounding, getting to the rim, finishing, passing. Dude, he had 13 assists in that play-in game, bro. 13 assists. Like, and he didn't even shoot that well. But it's because, and the defense, bro, he was locking up Anthony Davis. He was locking up LeBron. Kyle, and it's just a name, bro. That's just one example of a guy that can that can be a connector, right? And that's what Mike Dunleavy's been talking about. Like, he's like, we need connectors, guys that can connect lineups. And if we can get a guy like that, he's 6'9".
So here's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The guys that, and you say connectors, right? So, you know, the Chicago Bulls weren't like the most talented teams, right? So,
yes.
91 to 98. You know, those weren't necessarily talented guys, right? Like, I know people try to gas up Scotty, gas up Horace Grant, and all of that stuff. But you know what those teams had? They had connectivity, right? Like, everyone was kind of locked in, and they could do like the little things here and there. Like, they really played into their role, right? So when you see the team struggle last year, it's not that the damn team was bad or anything like that, right? It's that they did not have connections. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's really what it is. I mean, it's not like it's a talent thing, because on paper you're like, all right, we got Kuminga, he's 6'8". We got Wiggins, he's 6'8". We have, you know, this dude, we have that dude, we have Jermichael and all of that stuff. Those guys just weren't connectors. And I don't think the punch helped that connectivity.
Yeah.
Because it's like, think of something like this, right? So somebody messes up, right? Like, say they miss a rotation and whatnot. Like, what was happening the year before is that you could say, all right, you missed this, and that, right? You could have that conversation. You see, like, when things are weird in the locker room, people don't want to go up to other people and give constructive criticism. Now, think about how the Warriors play. And if that type of communication is not happening, right? Think about how it affects, like, the style of play. Next thing you know, bam. You know, like, because you're not connected on the court, you know, like a 5-0 run turns into a 15-0 run at some point, because dudes are not locked in. It's not a talent thing, dog. Like, sometimes in the NBA, the shit comes down to whether you are on a string or not. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think they were at a string at any point last year. Like, a lot of games they won because of pure talent.
You're exactly right. We just had a ton of money out there, like, at times, but we were not connected as we should be. You know, like, in 2022, look at this guy, man. This guy is just, I'm marveling at Kyle Anderson, man. Just a really great player. He just plays the game so well, you know? And this is a guy like Otto. Like, if you watch Otto would do kind of Kyle Anderson stuff where he could just make the right read. He can, you know, rebound, pass, do those things. Like, look at this. The dude that I didn't even, like, we forget that we see Cat hit this shot, right? We see Cat hit that shot, but the dude that made the play was Kyle Anderson when we lost to the Timberwolves. Like,
Draymond Green, dog. Like, Draymond Green.
Bro,
they're playing 5 feet off of him.
Yeah.
Rewind that play again, bro. Like, rewind that play. And this is like a fundamental problem, bro.
Yeah, I got
This is a fundamental problem.
So, let's see. Go back.
We can't have Draymond and Moody starting in the front court again.
Look at that.
So he passes off, right? And look at this shit, bro.
Boom.
Like, come on, man.
Boom. Just took it away.
Dre, you know how many, look at how many brain, like, all right, let's think about this season alone. How much brain dead shit have we seen Draymond do in the club?
Bro, a ton. Turnovers, just bad shots.
but the kids weren't ready to play, is what I keep hearing. Like, we deal with this shit in the NBA or in the NFL all the time.
Lindell,
hey
Lindell, I'm not about to blame kids when we're in a close game situation and Draymond Green is turning over the ball. Like, are you kidding me?
So, Urkel, here's what I'll give people, and this is what pisses me off, because people will use true statements to try to prove things that are not true. And I think you asking the question, how many times do we watch Draymond do boneheaded things, is a great example of this. People will say, oh well, we need people who, know what Kerr runs and fit the system and all that stuff. Bro, the only reason, and you could actually make the argument that we don't actually really know what Kerr's preferred system is because he's always had Draymond Green. Draymond Green is the only reason why the offense looks the way that it looks.
Yep.
So when Draymond goes in there and turns over the ball,
so here's the thing about it, though, Lindell, right? Like, imagine if Draymond was a threat to score. You know how crazy the offense would be,
bro.
Because here's the thing: like, how do you guard him if he's a threat to score the ball, right? So you have Steph. So this is what I hate in the fan base when people criticize the offense, and they're like, "Oh, it's all this running around and all of this shit." Bro, like, listen, I've played basketball before, and when motherfuckers are running around, it's the hardest, most annoying thing to guard, right? But if you're the trigger man and you have the ball and you know what he's gonna do, then you can cheat off of those. You can cheat off of those movement players. You know what I'm saying? And when you can cheat off of them and you know exactly where they're gonna go, and you know what the trigger man is gonna do, then that shit is not so hard to guard, right? So when Jim comes on and Jim says, "Oh, this motion bullshit, this and that, blah, 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 blah," I want you to veer your eyes on the trigger man, which is Draymond Green. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Just watch it.
Mm-hmm. Yo, Urkel. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Urkel, I shit you not, last night during the playback, we were watching Game 4 of the Lakers series, and Andre paused that shit maybe like 20 times, and nobody's within 5 feet of Draymond, bro.
Urkel, you have access to the recording, Urkel. You have access to the recording because you're a mod. Bro, and I might one day just take that recording and break up certain clips. Bro, Ray is like, Ray cannot understate it, man. It was, people in the chat, like, I was pausing clips, and these are clips where people would miss in real time. In real time, you cannot tell. Mm-hmm. In real time, you can't tell. But, like, I'm pausing this shit, and I'm like, look at Draymond! Look at Draymond! Bro, it was the space, Looney Mew says at least 26 times. The space that Steph and Klay had to work with. Like, Draymond would just handicapped the space completely. Like, it was just impossible. And mind you, had Looney on the court, and they were playing basically 2 feet in the paint every time. And you would see Wiggins, like, have to figure something out, or Steph just chuck up a bad shot, or, like, Klay just didn't have enough room to, get to 2 feet in the paint because Draymond's just clogging shit up because you got dudes in the paint ready on the
but
drive.
Another thing I noticed.
Yeah.
No, another thing I noticed. We say that players on our team aren't playmakers, but they've never been given the opportunity. You know what we found out? The diamond in the rough, the shining was Tony is a fucking playmaker.
Yeah.
But he never had responsibility until this season. Like multiple games. Every single game I was betting. He was having every single game. It was that he was gonna get that. He was damn near doing a double almost. Like, and I'm talking from an assist. He must have had a triple-double. So at the end of the day, this shit is on Kerr.
Shadow, your mic is cooked, dog.
But he is literally the old distributor, and why? It's because he cannot do anything else. If you do not have Draymond on the ball, there's no point him being on the court. What is he going to do? Go in the corner and shoot? He's going to stay in the dunker spot?
Or he's incapable of being a plus on as a scorer.
Is the team gonna pay Draymond $100? I mean, $100 million, like us? Like,
please
no. Kind of screwed in that sense. No. I'm really worried about that. At least,
yeah.
I hope no one.
Shadow can speak to that. I think better than me. Someone said I'll give him $100.
So here's the other thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be dead honest with y'all. So listen. Jordan Poole was a fucking pain in the ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the first thing. Second thing, let me establish that first. But here's what I'm saying. They were asking Jordan Poole to be a playmaker. You understand what I'm saying? Not to necessarily score the ball all the time because you got 3 other guys that can score the ball. So they're trying to divvy up roles. You know what I'm saying? Like roles on the team or whatever. So, Poole has the ball. He can do what he does or whatever, right? But Draymond Green, the only thing that he does well on offense is pass the ball. You know what I'm saying? That's literally the only thing he does well. Now, if you're asking Poole to be a playmaker, you're also asking Draymond to be a playmaker, right? Like, how does that work when both of them are on the court? Does that eat into someone else's role? Yeah, it eats into Draymond's role. So
it does. Yep.
So what starts to happen now?
That's why we can't have CP3 or Draymond on the floor together.
No, but here's the thing though. CP3 can shoot the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the difference. So CP3 can actually shoot the ball. You give him the ball, he can run ball screens, he can make these passes. He's an elite passer, right? So the thing about Jordan, yeah.
Hey DC, you're on to the shit that frustrated me to begin with when these conversations broke out, because people would go, I'll side with this person or that person. This is this person's fault. Let's be real. If we're not, oh my god, why is that the play that I just looked at, bro? Fucking hell. So what happens is we go, 4 championships. What 4 championships got to do with that fucking play right there? Dre, run that back. I want to see that turnover one more time.
Linda, I literally just asked him to run it back.
Play it again. Play it again. Somebody tell me what 4 championships got to do with this play here.
These are Kyle Anderson defense highlights, by the way. Look at this. So hold on, let me go back.
My God. So, somebody tell me.
So Steph, boom.
Matter of fact, look at what Poole does here. He's still in motion, by the way. Oh boy. Hey, Kyle, you want the ball?
Cutting that way, boom.
Here you go, Kyle.
So listen, Steph and Poole, right? Look how many concessions are being made, right? So we can say whatever we want about Poole, but they're crossing paths basically. So you have to make a decision right there, right? Yeah. So don't tell me the man ain't doing like he's not doing what he's trying to do. You know what I'm saying? It's that motherfucker Draymond, bro.
So Urkel, we did this with and we're doing it now because we haven't seen him play healthy yet. But people, back when we were talking Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo, I asked a very simple question. People didn't want to answer it because they already knew the answer. They didn't want to answer it. I said, would you rather have a rookie making rookie mistakes or a 30-year-old making rookie mistakes? You tell me. Would you rather the rookie, super talented, making rookie mistakes, or do you want a 30-year-old making rookie mistakes?
This dude's a beast, bro. I'm telling you, man. This guy's incredible.
That wingspan is insane.
Draymond lost his shooting touch because he's in fucking Paris being a fucking cocksucker.
Listen, guys, if Steve Kerr if Steve Kerr was willing to play Kuminga, you can call me an idiot for wanting to trade for Kyle Anderson. But the very fact that Steve Kerr has no interest in this, I might be a genius for wanting Kyle Anderson, because guess what? If it's not going to work, you might as well get this guy. This guy is a needle mover. This guy's a championship piece. This guy is incredible. Look at this. Look at this guy, bro. You put this guy next to Steph Curry, it's a wrap.
Foster, get over here. The chat said to put you on the mic.
The reason why I'm so animated right now is because, I'm seeing, Draymond is about to get his way, right? So not only is this fucking idiot a mark, right? He's a mark, and on top of it, he hasn't improved his game since maybe 2017. He hasn't done anything to improve his game. And then he sits there and he yo-yos up in weight and he does this and he does that. And next thing you know, he's on some podcast saying Steph Curry couldn't do X, Y, Z as a player. Get the fuck out of my face, dog. Like,
hey, Ergo, you know what's starting to happen now? People are getting trapped in their own like agendas. I keep hearing, oh well, Steph needs Draymond. And I go, hey, if you want to start going down that slippery ass slope, y'all have lost your goddamn minds. Do you think, does Draymond make Steph better? Yes. Does Steph make Draymond better? Yes. But you do know Steph is the only reason why Draymond can be on the floor with Looney, right? I will say it again.
listen to me.
Steph is
I
the
watched
only
them
reason
win a
Draymond can
playoff
be on the
game.
floor at the same
Dog.
time as Kevin Looney, bro.
Lindell, I watched them win a playoff game, right? They won a whole ass playoff game without Draymond. You know what I'm saying? And they did it pretty convincingly too. Can we go back and watch that game 3 again, Dre? Like, is that
The
possible?
game 4? Yeah. Let's do it.
No. Not the game 4, but the game 3.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
You don't get me
We should
started
go back
on
and
this
watch
man,
that game
bro.
3.
We can do that.
Don't get me started on this man. I can't, bro. I keep hearing people say, "No,
We
I
should
don't
really
want-
go
I don't
back and
want
watch
Cat."
that game
Come
3
on.
when Draymond isn't there, bro. Like I really want people to see that shit.
Oh, you mean the against? No, guys. He's talking
Sacramento.
about. He's talking about against the Kings. He's talking about the Kings. He's not talking about the Lakers. I'll switch it. Just I want 2 more minutes of this because we're probably not going to get Kyle Anderson. So I want to just marvel in his greatness.
While y'all do that, I'm gonna go to the league starting fours. And see
Listen,
which
I
one
love
I
Kyle
wouldn't trade for
Anderson, dog,
Draymond
but
right now.
like giving up young talent for Kyle Anderson is crazy. Like,
No, I know, but if Steve isn't going to play the young talent, then we have no choice. Like, we just got to make a move.
So we need to fire Steve Kerr then because
half the timeline was ready to move forward with Dre just fucking hates the car. Dre just fucking Dre hates Kuminga.
Bro, look at this. He's ripping jaw, bro. He's ripping fucking jaw, bro.
No. We're gonna run with it. Andre
He's ripping
hates
jaw,
Kuminga.
bro. Come on,
He never
man.
believed in Kuminga. Let's roll.
Dude, I am a Kyle Anderson. I'm a Kyle Anderson, bro. Come on, bro.
We like to keep it simple here. Would we prefer Kuminga get these minutes? Absolutely. But if he's not going to,
Hey,
then
Dre,
Kyle Anderson needs to be
can
a
you start
warrior.
the game on my channel?
Yeah. We can do that. Bro, look at this dude, bro. I'll get it up on your channel.
North, that's a great point.
Look at
Dre,
this guy, bro.
North
This
brought
guy's
that Kyle also played in San Antonio as well.
This guy's just insane, bro. And by the way, guys, this is defense. Yo, his playmaking is on a different level. He just picked Luka.
Cookies. And he was telling everybody to get the fuck down the court.
Bro, he picked Luka and he picked Ja. And now he's about to pick SGF. Yo, let me tell you guys this.
That's a long wingspan, doesn't he, Dre?
Terry said he's not attractive.
He's not attractive, though.
Yo, someone should say you only want Kyle Anderson because you look like him. That'd be funny.
My man said the distance from his hairline to the bridge of his nose is unacceptable.
Bro, Kyle Anderson, bro. This dude's playmaking. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, guys. Kyle Anderson's playmaking is probably better than his defense. It's probably better than his defense. Look at this. Bro, this guy's a championship piece, bro. Look at that. That looked like a foul.
Also, Shadow said there was a big announcement coming for the Warriors later this week. I'm gonna sound like a hater, but
this dude's
I hope that's a specific big move, bro. I can't wait.
I see people trying to clown Shadow. Oh, okay, all right.
Earl, somebody was complaining earlier on the timeline that we were trying to send Clay off into the sunset, and I shit you not, I almost tweeted right back at him. I prefer it to be a Chicago sunset. Bro, Chicago sunset would be great. Wouldn't mind a Minnesota sunset. Who else? Shit,
Are we going there?
These guys just need to get better.
Talking about the New Orleans sunsets, bro.
Are we going?
These guys just need to get better.
That's all, man. Memphis sunset. I ain't sending Clay to Memphis, bro.
Are we going to Urkel's channel?
Yeah. Do you want to, Urkel? You want to move over and we can start the game 3 rewatch?
Yeah, let's start it up.
Let's do it.
All right. Yep. Let's do it. All right. Hey, appreciate everybody coming through again. I think we went through some, important topics, and we 5 games till free agency, so we'll see. We'll continue the discussion though. All right, appreciate it.